Happy New Year to those of you that haven't seen. We're going to call to order tonight's regularly scheduled meeting, first meeting of the year for the Jinx Aquarium Authority. Today is Tuesday, January 18th. It is 5:05 p.m. And Mr. Macy, can you please call attendance?
Bonds, Montgomery, here. Kaylin,
here.
Murray, here. Rowe, here. OJ,
Here.
Chairbox.
Here. Very well. We are called to order. Item number 1. Consideration and appropriate action relating to requests for approval of the consent agenda. A motion to approve item 1.
So moved.
Second.
I have a proper motion and second. Let's vote, please.
Montgomery? Yes. Kaylin?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Rowe?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Chairbox.
Yes, sir. Item 2, we will pull. Who's not here that way? Harvey. Jeff. Jeff. Item 3, revise the general admission fee schedule for the Oklahoma Aquarium effective March 1st of 2022. Mr. Sauceda, page 43.
Chair, members of the authority, trustees of the authority, after discussing it internally, we are proposing a $1 increase to our admission prices for all tiers. Historically, we've increased prices after the completion of a new exhibit. So we just finished completing the jellyfish and clownfish exhibit. Also, this will help us continue to raise revenue to address the ongoing inflationary pressures we face. As you remember, back in July, we increased the ticket agents, or to recruit ticket agents, to $11 an hour, and we gave out a 3% cost of living stipend. And in addition to experiencing an increase in prices of the materials and supplies that we purchase.
And I think and what we saw from the price increase in July, I mean, we continue to have near record attendance for the first 6 months of the year. And as you can see on page 44 and 45, we're still one of the most affordable aquariums in the nation, and would be so even with a $1 increase. And the thought was, if we were going to potentially propose this with the next biennial budget, we'd be missing out on the revenue from March, April, May, which are very busy months. And so we thought we'd go ahead and propose this now so we can capture that revenue before the end of the fiscal year.
Very well. Any questions from the authority for Mr. Sauceda?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery.
I note here there's no mention of changing any of the pricing of memberships.
Yes. So I think what we're concentrating on is the tickets for now, and we're seeing kind of a trend of an increase in memberships. So I think that as customers feel like it's a value to just upgrade to a membership, as the price of the ticket increases, you kind of make that change in your mind of maybe an additional 2 visits kind of makes up the cost of an individual membership. So I think letting a year go by from the previous increase in July, once we have those people in our membership pool, start increasing the prices then. So we will come back at a later date for an increase in membership prices.
Yeah, because my recollection is every time we've increased the memberships, every time we increase the admissions, we'd also increase the memberships. I think last time it was about $10 a year or something like that.
And originally we proposed a $10 increase for memberships, and I think after your suggestion that we revised the increase for the upper tiers to kind of come out to a 7% increase for each tier. So that's something that we'll look at, and increased membership prices will come back maybe in July, after a year has gone by, to see if there was any impact to membership revenue.
Okay. And have we seen any, from the July increase, have we seen at least any comments, any pushback from that? Or, because there's a point where, there's a point where you increase it and you actually drive people away.
Right.
Now, I don't think we're there yet, but, just curious.
I think from a couple of comments that I've heard from Janice and her ticket agents, on the one-off, it might have been the increase went into effect July 1st. Somebody who was doing their research to come visit, say the weekend before or a couple of weeks before July 1st, it's like, oh, it's only $18.99 to get to the door. It's $19.99. I think there was a complaint about that, for the extra dollar, but not. I think that was kind of a one or two situation.
And a further question, is the intent of this one to basically put it at this level? Any thoughts of how long we might stay at this level before we want to look at it again?
Well, I think we
Because,
need,
typically, if you go back, the last three, it's about every 3 years,
Mhm.
roughly, we've done this, and this is in less than a year.
and I think that, just anecdotally for us, it's, if we look at, the $20 threshold and advertising something that's under $20, whether it's $17.95, $18.95, $19.95, I think we saw moving at that $1 in the last 6 months has, when you think about 120,000 probably people have come through since then, and we have maybe one complaint, and we have virtually, I think, record attendance almost for every month. We don't think that there's been an impact, that this hasn't impacted people's decision to come or not come to the aquarium. And I think that one more dollar, as long as we're under the $20 threshold, will have the same effect. I think what we need to think about, and maybe perhaps even talk to somebody with more knowledge of it, is, if we propose going past that $20 threshold, is there some sort of, does that trigger something where people may or may not want to attend? But, I don't know, if you look at the list of other aquariums, most every single one is above $20, whether it's in a big city or a tourist area or not. So, and I think, to the point of, I think we want as many memberships as we can get, because you get that bigger payoff right away, whether or not someone ever actually does come back or not within that year. And so, and that's where we're trying to drive the value proposition. And I think for the memberships, I would assume that more members are going to be local, relatively local. And so then when we look at, say, the zoo or the new children's museum and their membership levels, they are slightly below ours. So if that's our competition, I would think our membership levels, we're trying to keep that somewhat similar for local people. But in all honesty, it's not like this is a science for us. It hasn't been a scientific endeavor. It's just kind of like, do we think we can push this to this level? Yes, we do. And if we have any issues with it, we can always adjust it. Other aquariums that Kenny and I have visited have lower rates, say in the winter, when in the slower months, and higher rates during spring break in the summer. They'll have basically a busy season rate and a slow rate. And maybe, if we get to 1995 tonight and we come back and look in 8 months or something and say, well, maybe we can push the busy, like March through August, we can push it above 20, but then lower it perhaps in the slower months. I don't know, but I think that I don't know what kind of exercise we would need to do, or talk with other aquariums specifically about their pricing, about how they do it. I know when we visited the Tennessee aquarium, they said they had paid for a very expensive study that showed you can raise it $1 and no one's going to care, and you could raise it $4 and the same amount of people essentially aren't going to care. But if you raise it 5, then now you're impacting the potential attendance at the aquarium. And so I don't know if we want to go, there's firms that do that we could, if we get to that point, and want to have some sort of data to back up our decision, I think we could, but.
I would like to ask some questions because you guys are much more knowledgeable on this. It's just that from the discussion, since I've listened to everybody that's made visits to all the various aquariums. We have, from what I have acquired in my knowledge bases, some of these aquariums that are listed here have got deep pockets. And we should not even be comparing ourselves to them. We need to pick out 3 aquariums that are matching to us and work with that. Because when I see a Dallas aquarium on here or a Florida aquarium or, those type of aquariums, I don't think we're looking at it correctly. Am I against the increase? No, but I think that we need to look at aquariums that are like ours. What the ones that have $29, $25 admission fee, what other things around the aquarium, in the aquarium, like, we're working on that with but are we at that point yet? That's the question I have, if that's what we have.
Good point.
Well, at one point, we used to have, when we didn't raise it this frequently, but we had specials where go out and get RVs or somebody to sponsor a discount ticket or bring canned food or just stuff like that just make it easier to absorb the transition. I would think that it'd make more sense to do a special discount than to change the prices formally.
Mm-hmm.
If we set a price at $19.95 and we've got a slow point, we can always say, we'll give you $2 off if you bring a canned food or something, just to get people in there. But I think when you start trying to go in and change the formal price, that could get very confusing.
Yeah, I would agree with Harvey that actually, back to your point, there's something symbolic about now paying $20 or more. And once you get people's appetite accustomed to paying 20, the next big hurdle is now 25. I mean, those are symbolic numbers. I would be in favor of, I don't have a problem with the price increase at all. I would be in favor just for we can analyze some data for a reasonable span of time. I would encourage us to leave this price here for a minimum of a year so we can sit back and at some point analyze the results. I don't like changing the ticket prices down ever, never be in favor of that. I'd rather look at if seasonality is something we need to look at, then we just give them incentive to get them in the door. Let's not stick it at $20 ticket plus, I don't know, a free burger, whatever you guys want to do. There's lots of ways you can get them in the door. Free fish food or something that's very low margin that doesn't cost. What are the bag of stuff, the feed?
Oh, I thought you meant to give it out to people.
No.
Fresh sushi.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
California rolls for everybody in the wintertime. And you notice half the tanks are empty. So.
We should give it to them as they leave. That way we can see the confusion on their face.
Yeah, exactly. So.
That was confusing for me.
Yeah, but we have raised the price, 3 times? It seemed 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years. Yeah. So I think we should consider this done for a while. And then we can get creative, let marketing figure out how to draw people in March, in the wintertime. But once we're at $19.95, let's just stick here. No need to lower it. It's a very, very good value.
I agree with you.
And it's too hard to change prices. Then you got to make POS changes. And
we're not, I know I brought it up
maybe
mistakenly, but we're not proposing, we're just saying, we're trying to get to the $19.95 tonight, and then we'll kind of examine it both, with your input. The thing that's tough is some of these aquariums, like the Dallas World Aquarium or the downtown Denver Aquarium, I do think that our facility is very comparable in terms of the actual facility itself to those examples, but they're just in a much larger
Demographic.
yeah, there's just a lot more people around there. So
So instead of comparing to population size or price, we compare it to the facility to facility.
Yeah, your location, like if
Yeah.
you can have a much smaller facility, say, you know.
we'll leave it in Branson.
Branson. But if you're in a tourist area, people expect to pay $30 to get an aquarium. Even if their largest tank is 30,000 gallons versus ours is almost 400,000 gallons. So as far as comparing apples to apples, as far as just the aquarium itself, we should be charging upwards of $40, $30 to get in, depending on where we are. If we're in the Keys, we'd be charging $50 all day long to get in. So.
And like places like, yeah, you're right. I mean, places like Monterey Bay, Wonders of Wildlife, Georgia Aquarium, yeah, we're not comparable to those. But
Well, this is all information that we're now getting, you know, instead of just a fee schedule. So, because we have to know the demographics around it, Kenny is correct on that. So those are the variables that we need to know, and maybe we should go up to $40. I mean,
Well,
I'm saying that in jest, okay?
Tomorrow. To me, the biggest litmus test that no amount of research is going to give you is our attendance. So our attendance is higher, you know, last year is higher than it's ever been, and our ticket prices is higher than they've ever been. So that's, to me, kind of, I mean, what better information can you get than that? Is that it's not deterring people. So every time we raise ticket prices, all of us, including myself, are going, oh boy, hope we did the right thing. We're kind of watching our attendance. Well, it went up. Okay, the next time we raise ticket prices, oh boy, I hope we did the right thing. Well, then it went up. And so if it starts going down, like Chris said, I think we should react to that.
Yeah.
And we do promotional things. You know, we recently launched a $2 off promotion by signing up to our texting program, where you get, you know, various promotional deals and stuff like that, and people have been fairly responsive with that. Also, something I'd like to bring up later, maybe with Chris, is possibly, you know, we stay open till 9 o'clock on Tuesday nights, but it's pretty dead. Well, it's a service we're doing for people that don't like crowds or have can't get to the aquarium at those normal operating hours, that kind of thing. Well, maybe that's the night that we do discount ticket prices to kind of get more people, you know, in the door after hours like that. It's a possibility.
Well, I think just following up after people attend and get feedback to any way you can. Cause,
Well,
I think one of the things that, you know, it's easy to do, but just, I mean, if you take 2 or 3 people, kids out there, and you try to feed them that turtle, I mean, you're gonna spend $15, $20 on top of that.
Yeah.
And that's just, to me, that is just out of line. I mean, they're doing that because the peer pressure is tremendous.
Yeah. So we do get feedback in the form of all our reviews, from Ask Nicely, from anything from Facebook, Ask Nicely, our website, you name it, TripAdvisor. So there's constant reviews. And when we look at them, we kind of tackle what complaint comes up the most, and ticket prices are not one of them. So when we start doing one of these and it's ticket prices, that's going to tell us something. And again, we're not locked in.
But I think as you address the things that are bothering people, whatever they are, then the price is different. Because if you go, I mean, I've been to Monterey a couple of times. They do such an amazing job in their dosing program. You don't even, you don't mind. I mean, when you leave there, you really feel like there's been a good experience. And if we can, and not that we're not there, but if we can make sure we're there, then I don't think price is going to be until it gets to the point where you really see the decline in attendance.
Any more questions from Mr. Salcedo? Okay. Okay, very well. Entertain a motion to approve the ticket increase for item number 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a proper motion second. Let's vote, please.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes,
Murray,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Chair Ball.
Yes. Staff report. Mr. Alexopoulos, good evening.
Evening, Mayor. Our carousels production is starting this week or early next week. We've already are in the process of picking out the animals and the color scheme to make it as ocean-like as possible. We are also, Greg Helms is going to be exploring other quotes for the infrastructure that's going to need to be done. We plan on starting the infrastructure sometime in July. So we are curtailing our events that would impact from now. Our goal for the opening or the operation of the carousel, we're shooting for beginning of October because we want to have it open in time for the Howell Marine event that we do. Normally we have a large pirate ship in its place, but for Howell Marine, we think it would be a great kickoff to open that carousel. So that's our goal with the carousel at this point. We're still working on shark quarantine. We haven't had a meeting in a little while. We're scheduled, we need to have another one since a new proposed location for the building. Things have changed, and originally we were exploring the space that is basically just due south of the shark quarantine itself, the current shark quarantine. But certain factors that we were kind of thinking about, such as taking up pretty valuable real estate that's right on the river, may not be the best idea. There's no real advantage of having that shark quarantine where we were planning it, so we're not like losing. As a matter of fact, I kind of like it being as far away from the river as possible. I still have PTSD from the floods. So we're thinking of moving the quarantine's location further west into where the parking lot is, towards the power lines. And we're exploring just doing it and trying to keep it the smallest footprint possible. So not necessarily adding the offices with that project. Just the necessary square footage for the quarantine itself, which will actually increase in square footage from what we have now. It's also in a great location for access for offloading trucks, that kind of thing, and it's still in a relatively close location to the wet lab where we can still run our necessary piping underground to and from the wet lab. So that's kind of where we're at right now. As far as floor plan, we've already put together a floor plan, but because things are changing, this is another change, so we're kind of holding off right now on continuing the floor plan until we come to a little bit more decisive location and shape of the building. So that's kind of where we're at right now with that.
Kenny, do you have any idea of when you guys will have yes, we want to put it here, and Greg has his, I want to say it was 6 to 8 weeks, is what I roughly remember, on getting the cost estimates and all that. Do you have any idea of when that period of time?
I do not right now, but that is going to be my new charge. Basically coming back to work tomorrow, since we've outlined we're kind of past the point with the carousel. We really haven't had time to truly decide on its location, so I'm going to push for a meeting probably next week if people are available to attend, and then I'll be able to get you a lot more information then. So we started a text promotional program. So one of the things that we haven't had before is promotions going out via text. So, you know, we nailed TikTok and Facebook and those kind of things, and Twitter, but we haven't had a texting program, and that's really something that a lot of corporations use. Walmart sure as heck does, and Best Buy, and so, but people do have to opt in, and there is a certain limit on how many texts that we will be sending out, so people don't get put out by it. But we have been running a $2 off promotion where people will opt in and then use that $2 coupon to receive our texts. Also, members will receive our texts and that type of thing. And so far, we've had about 64 people, and it's only been about a week that has been launched. So we're really trying to build that group of people, our clientele on the text, so that way once we start hitting like the next holiday season, Black Friday, that kind of thing, we'll be really armed with it. And so hopefully that'll give us a boost in our membership sales. Splash has gone live and on multiple social media platforms. We have now 7 sponsors with a total of $43,000, which is more than we've ever had before. Keith, I think you can testify to that. That's a pretty impressive number. And we have 104 tickets sold, pre-sold so far. The staff and myself were already planning our the Easter egg hunt last year. So we're kind of fine-tuning it. We haven't had too many Easter egg hunts so far, and the first one was pretty brutal, and we grossly underestimated the amount of candy that we had. And then last year we overestimated the amount of candy we had. So, but we were cautious, and it was online sales only. So this year we're going to keep the amount of candy the same, and just have it open to the general public. We are still going to keep the 2 age groups, and so because unfortunately, you know, the little kids get kind of run over by the big kids, so we're still doing that. And we're using the biodegradable little burlap bags that have the Easter bunnies on it. We used that last year, and a lot of people were commenting on how they liked that idea versus the plastic eggs. And the playground was wonderful for it, and we had a lot of great response based on the playground because it was such a perfect place to hide a bunch of eggs versus just grass, which is what we've been doing up to this point. So that was really neat to utilize it for that. The aquarium run is underway and it's gone live. We're hunting for sponsors. Pepsi is donating drinks based on their contract. So we're searching for a naming sponsor right now. We're also working on point of sales devices for the ticketing, so that way people can swipe their own credit cards, not just for COVID, but also it allows us to have an opt for a donation for the aquarium, for our animals, that kind of thing. We're trying to boost our donations for bracelets. Unfortunately, people, repeat people, especially members, they're not gonna give $3 for another bracelet every time. So that is, that's kind of tapered off. It's still a great promo, and it's definitely helping us out. But to boost that, this point of sales devices can, for people who aren't really wanting a bracelet, they can still opt in to get a donation when they check out. We're working on a proposal for our next living exhibit, and I think I brought that up a few times already before, but we're really now getting a budget together for Jellyfish Touch, so that's going to be a pretty neat one, I think. And so it's an interactive experience that is free. And that really, the interactives is what really, to your point, Harvey, is what really increases the perceived value of our aquarium. So kids, the more things kids can do, touch, feed, what have you, and especially another free item that's interactive is great. We do have, capacity of producing these jellyfish, and the location would be in Marvels and Mysteries Gallery, where the old clownfish tank was, that wall. And so we're looking into numbers and time frame of a 12-foot long counter style, all acrylic jellyfish tumbler that kids can touch and that kind of thing. And if they don't sting, we have a species that does not sting. So we're going to use, it's going to be moon jellies. Also, we are currently, Chris Barella, who's our contracted artist, graphic artist, that did the artwork for the walls for our new exhibit that we just opened in the Amazing Birds Gallery. That style artwork is really a hit, and it's something that we want to keep consistent throughout our gallery. So the Marvels and Mysteries Gallery, separate of this exhibit that we're looking into, we're wanting to go ahead and flesh out all the solid painted cut walls with these type graphics. So the electric eel and the piranha and then the seahorses and all that area, to really make it pop and match what we've already installed. And it's a lot more informative and a lot more fun for kids and for people to look. And there's a lot of pictures and 3D pictures and things like that with some really neat factoids. So we're going to go ahead and continue that into Marvels and Mysteries. And let's see.
Kenny, the vice mayor, wants to know, when are we going to have the Swim with the Stingrays exhibit?
So that should be open next week for you.
I think that'd be awesome.
We would. Well, one of the wish list items is a large stingray lagoon where our current stingrays are, and we'd like to basically start over and put one single large lagoon where we can feed and touch stingrays and not sell out of fish food, because there'll be so many stingrays and large ones that you can sell food all day long, and we wouldn't have to have separate touch times to, because a lot of times, our current stingray tank is so small that on busy days like spring break, because it's not open all day long, if you're not bellied up when it opens, you're missing out. And so kids, they pay to come in and they don't get to touch a stingray, and that's we'd like to remedy that. Also, we'd like to explore possibility of utilizing that tank for special needs kids, that type of thing, kind of like they do the equine therapy or the dolphin therapy. Well, we could do stingray therapy because the animals are easily trained. They can swim right up into your lap. So I think that would be great. But a complete snorkel lagoon, I'm ready whenever you are. It'd be fantastic.
I said water park, to be honest.
I would love to do a living water park. That is my absolute dream, is to do a living water park, and that would be the center of that. So
I think it'd be kind of cool out there by the playground, and just kind of have an extension of the whole.
It would be amazing, and there are some resorts now that are beating us to the punch, and one such resort is in Florida, right on, I can't remember the key, but they're where Sarasota is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're building a large hotel with almost a 400,000 gallon size of a shark tank, snorkel lagoon.
Wow.
And it's called the Living Resort. And so they're going to have the lazy rivers and everything, and they're going to have turtles and all kinds of animals. But the centerpiece is that lagoon. All of it's outdoors because they're in Florida.
Oh.
But if we could bring something like that up north and do it indoors, it would be like none other. It would be amazing. So, I'm making everybody as well that's nervous.
I won't be here.
I probably won't either.
I was going to say that, but I was being
But Harvey can tell me all about it. Because he'll probably still be here. And I'll still be spelling his name wrong. So our bull sharks are being conditioned to take food. We have from an apparatus. So our bull sharks are used for certain scientific testing, most notably NOAA. Does everybody know about how we do bite tests for NOAA and that kind of thing? So we've also done bite tests for universities, local universities. And there is a company out of Australia that is engineered a new style dive shark-proof suit that is much more flexible and is neoprene covered and doesn't weigh 40 pounds like our chainmail. And they've tested it on every species of shark except for a bull shark. And so they sent us a sleeve, and we're working with them. We have this boom apparatus that we've constructed that we've used on all these tests, so we put that back up, and we're back to feeding whole salmon off of butcher's twine off this apparatus so that the sharks get used to it. And then when we feel the time is right, we're gonna attach the sleeve and wrap a salmon around it, see what it can do. And that's gonna be really neat.
Can you let us know when you do that?
Absolutely,
Yeah, I'd love to be there.
absolutely.
I think we'll all take the day off of work and watch this shark bite the vice mayor's arm.
Hopefully it will
Hey,
bite.
man.
They're unpredictable. So, it's one of those things, especially when Noah comes, we're like, please bite the rope, please bite the rope. And the first time we did it, we had an employee named Mitch, and I think he weighed about 260 pounds. And he was well over 6 feet tall. And we didn't have the apparatus. So we had a long metal pole that the rope was tied to. And we have it on video of that shark thrashing Mitch around and breaking that pole in like 4 places. And by the time he pulled it up, it looked like one of those old school hinged rulers, if you remember. And it almost pulled him in.
So this new suit has it passed the test with these other species?
Yes.
Like what? What's comparable though?
Tiger sharks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's very successful?
So far, but it's not successful until I see it work because.
Only 50% of people have lived.
Yeah, I know. Right?
So it's somewhat successful.
So,
For the
there's devices that we personally tested that were supposed to be shark repellents that didn't work on our sharks, even though there's videos of them working on sharks in the wild. So we'll see. But this is much more mechanical. This isn't behavioral. So they either can or they can't go through it.
So no kidding, we'd really like to know. Can you let us know?
Absolutely.
Give us a date, a 24-hour notice.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, Mayor. And this suit is really, it's really neat, and I don't know the materials, but I'm guessing Kevlar, but it's very lightweight, and it's basically using like geometry and like origami and NASA actually employs these brilliant origami guys for folding up a satellite when they go out of space. That's really neat. So this suit is designed, it has a lot of components that are lightweight, but they articulate in such a way that you can have free movement. But it's still like a suit of armor, and then that's skinned with neoprene. So supposedly it's a lot more comfortable and liberating.
DARPA is, a long time ago, long before this, is experimenting with a suit for field combatants that's held together with a variety of Kevlar, carbon fiber, woven together with spider silk.
Wow.
So, and it's lightweight, and it's stops 38 caliber bullets.
That's incredible.
So, and it adds like 20 pounds to your total body weight. So it's probably something pretty similar.
Probably so.
That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah,
I think
great.
You should make this. Is this a marketing opportunity for the aquarium or is this just something behind the scenes? You guys want to do this test?
I think what we'd like to do is make it a marketing thing, but because it's so unpredictable, we kind of would like to see this thing happen first.
Yeah. Okay. So you're worried.
So we're not,
worried about a failure.
I don't want to be like Geraldo Rivera and open up an empty safe. So they may not buy or anything, or they may cut right through it, and the company doesn't want anybody to know about that.
Sure.
I don't know. So we'll see. by the time we get there, point of testing, everybody here will know a lot
Okay,
more
that's
about
good
it.
enough. Thanks,
Absolutely.
appreciate
You bet. We have new fish going into Sea Turtle Island. The vast majority of the fish there are very old. They were actually in the, where the Polynesian Reef before that remodel. So those just got moved over. And so they've been kind of, there's been some attrition due to old age and things like that slowly. And so we're at a point where we want to get some new blood in there. So we've already, we're really close to finishing quarantine on the first batch. That should be going in shortly. And around the first week of February is where we're scheduled. So that'll be neat. And we do have our zebra sharks that didn't work out too well in our Polynesian Reef, but we are going to try them in the Sea Turtle Island, which will, if that works out, that'll be really amazing. And it should work out. There's no reason why it shouldn't, because there's no real pinch points like the Polynesian Reef has. And does anybody have any questions?
Why didn't they work out?
Well, they get the tank is like a horseshoe, and the one side we remedied that wasn't a factor because that's blocked off for the moray eel. The other side is designed for small fish to ensure diversity in species, and that side is very narrow and doesn't have a way out. And so on several times we've found a zebra shark kind of lodged in that area, kind of caught up in the corals, where we've had to remove a coral thinking, well, that's probably the part, well, then there's another coral, and then we remove that one. And it's just that design of that tank is just kind of unavoidable. That it's an unusually shaped tank. And so they get in there and they kind of panic and sometimes get stuck. It was happening about every couple of months, but we don't want to come in and find an animal that's deceased or something like that or wounded. So.
Very well.
All
Thank
right.
you, Mr. Alexopoulos. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there a motion for adjournment?
So,
I had one question.
Yes,
to
sir.
ask Robert, if you don't mind.
Mr. Sensei, jump back up
When,
here.
the bonds that are callable this year, when are they callable?
I'll have to look into it
Okay,
and refresh my memory, but I'll send you an email.
okay, right, thanks.
Motion for adjournment?
so moved.
Second,
Motion and second. Let's vote, please.
Montgomery,
yes.
Taylor, Murray,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Mayor Fox.
Yes, thank you very much.